You see, I know the bottom line of business is to make money, certainly keep people employed, keep a lifestyle that is, in this country, second to none. But the bottom line of life, the real bottom line, is those that we love and those that love us. And at your ability, you see, in this business that you're in, you help people. You help families. You help people so that their lives are easier and so that they can enjoy time together more without worry of consequences. And so when we look at that, we want to say, am I able to keep my personal life in balance and my business life in balance? Because my example counts. But I want to tell you something. I want to take you off the hook so you don't think that there's something heavy here. There's no such thing as perfect balance between our business life and our personal life. It does not exist. But the best thing that we can do for ourselves and those we love is just think about it. Keep it in our mind every single day. Do little things that matter. You see, I never known anyone who laid on their deathbed and said, oh, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. You see, in my family, I have one sister. My mother and father wanted a son. No such luck. I was born. I was appointed boy of the family. My dad loved me and I loved him, but in those days, dads were kind of straight-laced and they weren't allowed to hug and kiss as we can now. And my mother and I got along great, but my dad and I had a special relationship. I was the boy. And I got married very young, right out of high school, had Mike before I was 19, had my other son Shannon before I was 21, went off and started my family. 7 years after I'd been married, my father retired and moved out to the country in a nice little house for my mother to enjoy his retirement. Early on, very early on in his retirement, he called me one day on the telephone, and in a very emotional voice, he said, Sheila, he said, will you please meet me for lunch today? I need to talk. And I said, sure, Dad, I will. And I met my dad for lunch. And I sat there for 3.5 hours across the luncheon table from my dad, and I listened to him talk about his regrets over the commitments that he didn't keep to himself. He said, you know, after the Depression, he said, I wanted to go back to school and finish getting my degree. And he said, I could have done that. He says, but I don't know what happened. I didn't. And I promised your mother that I would buy her some things and take her some places, but those commitments didn't seem to happen much either. And he said, how did you and your sister grow up so fast? It was like sand that slipped through my fingers. And he said, I wanted to take you some places and talk to you about so many, many things. And he says, and now it's too late because you're grown up and so is she. And he said, Sheila, he said, it's too late. He said, because this morning, the doctor tells me I have 6 months left to live. And then he looked across the table and he asked me the most terrible question. He said, sweetheart, what am I going to do now? And I said, I don't know, Daddy. Because what he'd done is he'd come out the road of life. He was standing at the end looking back, filled with regret over the business and personal commitments that he didn't keep to himself. And almost 6 months to the day, he did pass away. And when he did, I thought about all those things that he had told me that day. And he left me a legacy that day because he told me 3 things that changed my life from then, from now on, and on to when I'm gone. I'm passed it to my children, and let me share with you. He said, Sheila, when it comes to your commitments, he said, don't put them off. Do it now. Do it. And I thought about that every day. 7 years passed. I was a single mother raising my 2 teenage boys. I was in sales and marketing. And I'd gotten a bonus check for something that I'd done well. And I thought about what my dad said. And I put a little bit in the bank and I took the rest and I went into a travel agency and I bought 3 airplane tickets. It was in the middle of the winter and I went home and I asked 2 teenage boys who are snow skiing fanatics the dumbest question possible. I said, who'd like to take off school for a week, go skiing? Is that a dumb question? Saturday afternoon, we went out to San Francisco International Airport. We got on that airplane. We went up the West Coast to Calgary, Canada. We got off of that airplane. They picked us up on a bus. They drove us and deposited us at the Banff Springs Hotel. And if you've never seen it, it's like a little castle right in the middle of the mountains. And my 2 sons and I skied for 5 full days, just the 3 of us, and we had an incredible time. And the last day that we were there, we got up very early. We went out to the ski area, and we got up on the chairlift and the gondola, and we went up and 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 up. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, we were the first and only 3 human beings standing at the top of a 9,000-foot mountain. We were above the clouds. And when we looked down below, we could not see the valley floor because there were the clouds. And stretched out in front of us was the Continental Divide, the Canadian Rocky Mountains covered with snow in a crystal clear blue sky. So incredibly beautiful. And I went up to the boys. I said, wait a minute, guys, can I go first? And they said, hit it, Mom. So Mom went over to this first ledge, and I got tucked under. And I came off that first ledge, and I skied down that icy face, not to the valley floor, just the bottom of that first face. And as I got down to the bottom, I turned around and I looked back up, and here was this huge white face of a mountain, like every postcard and poster that you've ever seen for a beautiful white mountain. And standing all the way up at the top was the pride and the joy of my life. And my commitment was my 2 sons. And I took my ski pole and I signaled. I said, come on, Mike. Come on, Shannon. And I watched my 2 Irishmen come down the face of that mountain making figure 8s, crisscrossing. And the only sound that you could hear as they got near me were their skis cutting through that light powdery snow. And it would go whoosh, whoosh. And that light snow would come up in the air and hang just for a second like lace. And when they were standing down in front of me, I knew it made a difference to them. It made a great difference to me. And I knew my dad was up there looking down, and I knew it made a difference, what he said to me. And I looked up and I said, that one was for you, Dad. Ladies and gentlemen, you make a difference in the lives of more people than you can even imagine. Your family, your friends, people in the industry. Each one of you, as a leader, can make a difference. But as my dad said when he talked about commitment, he said, don't put it off. Do it now. Do it. Thank you. God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very kindly.